Over the last few years, I've been living my dream life, traveling the world, surfing, doing adventures, seeing the world while operating a business, selling services to businesses at a very profitable rate, and doing so in a way that actually sustains my lifestyle. I've been traveling to Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Portugal, where I am now. This was the dream when I started out. I read The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss when I was 19. I'm now 26, and I can sit here and tell you that sure, I don't work 4 hours per week, but I live a pretty great life. I can wake up, spend the first few hours of my day surfing, and pretty much just adapt my schedule to how I want it to be. Now, the thing is, when I started out my entrepreneurial journey, I didn't want to build a multi-million-dollar business. I didn't want to risk a lot of capital or sacrifice my youth and sacrifice the thing that I actually care about, which is traveling and surfing and experiencing the world. And it's pretty surreal to be sitting here making this video right now because, sure, I have some moments where I sit down and I reflect on what I've achieved, but very rarely do you actually emotionally take that in. So yeah, I can sit here now and make this video and tell you that I've successfully achieved that dream that I had. And of course, as you achieve a dream, you have new goals that you want to reach. But I've built a six-figure agency over the last few years, super profitable, and it has sustained my lifestyle, a really, really good lifestyle. And that was my goal all along. I just started out because I wanted to quit my 9 to 5. I wanted to achieve freedom. I wanted to be where I wanted to be in the world. I want to be able to control my schedule and my time. And I want to make enough money to live a very comfortable life while investing in my future. And in this video, I want to show you the core reason why I was able to do so, which kind of came to me partly by luck, but I think also partly because of the effort that I put in and the decision I made to focus on building a micro personal brand on YouTube. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I built a small YouTube channel that generates less than 2,000 views on average per video. The channel has less than 5,000 subscribers, but it still has fueled my company to consistently get in leads that allow 6 figures per year and live a very, very good life. And the craziest thing about this is that I actually think anyone can do this. Like if I can do it, you can definitely do it too. When I started out, I wasn't good at talking to a camera. I still don't think I'm the best in the world at talking to a camera. It still feels weird and it takes effort, but it is worth it. Content is leverage, and this YouTube channel has allowed me to live an extremely good life. I feel a responsibility to share this and share this value with other people because I think there's so many people out there that are wanting to achieve what I've achieved. And I think if you apply what I did, it's very likely that you will be able to do so as well. The main challenge when I started selling my Facebook ad services was building an agency where I get clients and I can focus on acquiring new companies to work with, but also putting off enough time to actually service these companies and get them results. And it was this very difficult balance between spending hours trying to sell, doing outreach, finding companies, pitching my service to them, and then also having enough time to actually manage those clients, answer their messages, hopping on calls with them, build their campaigns and all of these things, which is extremely essential if you want to retain these clients that you get. And it's this very difficult balance of like, okay, now I have clients. Now I'm kind of like in this position where I need to service them, and I stop focusing on sales, and then you service them for a while. And of course, you always have some churn. So you lose some clients or you make less from some clients, and then you have to go sell again, but now you totally lost all of that sales momentum. You don't have any, leads in the pipeline that you're working on, and then you have to build that up again. You have to do more outreach, and it feels stressful, right? Because like you're swamped with things to do all the time. You don't have time to really focus, and you're scattered across multiple different things. And this was a big, big problem for me. Let me tell you, this was like the most difficult thing that I struggled with in the beginning is balancing sales and retention. And luckily for me, I ended up, filming some YouTube videos and started to get leads through there. And I understood that this was an amazing opportunity for me to build trust at scale and basically just outsource my sales. Because when people book in calls with me after they've been watching videos, they trust me already. They've been watching a couple of videos. They've seen some case studies that I posted. They trust that I know my stuff. And when I book in the call, it's like I'm not really selling. I'm just like talking to them, and then they're willing to buy most of the time. And it was such a contrast from doing outreach and having to hop on a call, do a cold call, and try to sell them, which feels extremely uncomfortable. And it was for me super, super draining, right? Because I have to convince somebody that, like, hey, you should pay me money so I can make you more money. But like when I'm starting out, I don't really know if I 100% can make that happen, and a lot of times you can't. But you still have to like take whatever you can get. And this balance, man, it was like so difficult, and it was draining and not fun at all. So when I started to get leads from my YouTube, that's when things really took off, because then I can like focus all my energy on just getting results for my clients. And then when I have results, I have something to make videos about, and then I share those videos, and then I get more leads coming in. And that is now the way that I operate my company. I only focus on retaining the clients I have and make content. And I have a system for making content that allows me to only spend, a few hours per week doing this. And then all the other attention can go to actually servicing clients. And I actually think this is the only way to build, at least for me, a sustainable business that I actually want to do for the long run. Especially now going into 2026, like there is so much competition out there. Businesses are being bombarded with cold emails, cold calling, and people trying to sell their services. And if you come in through that same channel and you try to pitch somebody, it just now feels like you don't know your stuff. Like you come off as desperate trying to sell. It's much better to be in a position where you just like share whatever you're doing, share the success you're having with your clients, build up a small fan base of people that get a lot of value from what you're sharing. And then naturally, like, people talk about you. So if somebody is watching your channel, even if they don't buy your services, they tell their friend that having a business that they should go check out this guy. He knows his stuff when it comes to Facebook ads. It's crazy when, like, before I had experienced this, like, people telling me about this, right? Like building a personal brand, posting content, but I was so shy and didn't want to get on camera. Luckily, somehow one day I took up the camera and filmed a small, really simple video, just going over some campaigns and showing some success that I had with a client. It wasn't anything crazy or drastic, and it was super, super simple stuff. I'll link the YouTube channel in the description of this video so you can go check it out. But it was like a shitty video in my opinion, but it ended up getting me like 4 or 5 paying clients that I can directly attribute to that video. I just knew that, wow, I just did one video and it ended up giving me such a return on my effort. But not only that, it was also like the whole process of closing these clients. Like, they booked in a call and they just wanted me to help them. I didn't need to sell. They were ready. They wanted to buy immediately. And they wanted me to do the same that I've done for my other client that I shared in that YouTube video. So it was a whole different experience. And if it wasn't for that experience, I don't know if I would have understood the value of this. And I don't really know where I would be at this point in time. But it was not how I started my agency. I'll be honest, I started doing outreach and I got a couple of case studies. And I think, when you're really, really starting out, you still have to do it that way, right? But at the same time, I think if you early on start building up a micro personal brand and you start putting stuff out there, documenting what you're learning and just basically documenting the results you're getting, because I think when you're starting out, at least for me, it was super uncomfortable taking the approach of like, I'm going to teach you how to do things, because I didn't know what I was doing. Honestly, I had some experience, but very, very minimal. And I felt such this imposter syndrome, right? Like, who am I to make content and talk about this stuff? I don't really have all the answers. But by taking the approach of just like documenting what you're learning, and you just say, hey, this is what I've learned. We tried this, we had this result. And then you just have the link to book in a call with you in the description of the video. That is going to be enough when you're starting out. And at some point, you're going to be a little bit more of an authoritative figure. But when you're starting out, I think you just need to, take the approach of like, hey, I'm learning this. This is what I'm learning. This is what I've been able to achieve. The best way to learn something is to teach it. So I will tell you, like, the way that I got really good and now I feel very confident in my expertise when it comes to meta ads and the service that I'm delivering is because I have made all of this content, like really breaking it down, understanding how to present it, and having this deep understanding of it so that I can make a video about it. When you're sitting down and scripting the videos, you're not just making content, you're leveling up your skill set. So you're like doing two of the most important things you can do at the same time. And that's the beauty of content. It's so much better than just, relying on cold outreach. So I'll tell you the story of how that first video actually got my first few clients from YouTube. I was actually traveling, did my first trip to Sri Lanka after I'd started my business. I had a few small clients and I just saved up enough to do a little trip. So I did like a month and a half in Sri Lanka. And while I was there, I had one of the most horrible things happen. Long story short, my ad account got hacked. And it ended up causing me to lose most of my portfolio at the time, most of my clients. I had like 6 or 7 clients, very small clients though. And I lost half of them. I think I kept like 2 or 3. Luckily, one of them were at a size that allowed me to continue to, make some money, but it was extremely minimal. And it was one of the most stressful experiences I've ever been through. I posted this YouTube video like a couple months before this happened, and it didn't get any views when I posted it. It was just sitting there on my YouTube channel. I had forgotten about it, honestly. I didn't even remember about posting it. But I started seeing these emails in my inbox. It was like, oh, this and this person commented on your video. And then I saw another few emails pop in, like this and this person liked your video. Oh, you got a few subscribers. Oh, you got 100 subscribers. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I go in and I see the video is just taking off. And I'll put the graph on the screen here. You can actually see what happened. But it was just all of a sudden taking off. I didn't understand why. I thought it was a really shitty video. But then nothing really more happened. People were commenting on it, asking questions, and I went in and answered some of the questions on YouTube. And then when I got back home from Sri Lanka, one day I got this booked call in my calendar. And I was like, what? Because I always had a feeling of like when I could be getting a booked call because I was getting so few at the time. And it was only from outreach through email or something like that. And then I got this booked call from this company in the UK that I've never spoken to or didn't know anything about. And I go in and check them out. I'm like, oh, this is a pretty successful e-commerce brand. They're doing good numbers. And then I hop on the call, super nervous. I usually speak Norwegian to the leads that come in, but now I'm talking to the UK brand and he just wanted to have me help him out with his ads. And I was like, sure, I can help you out. And then I sent him an offer and I think the same day he paid. And I look at my Stripe and I'm like, holy shit, I just sold a client, the first like international client at the time through YouTube. I'm like, what? It was so weird, man, because I never expected this. And then, okay, a couple of weeks, I think 1 or 2 weeks go by, and then I get another booked call. No, actually, I got a DM on Instagram from a guy that has that blue tick next to it. And this was before like everybody could have a blue tick. So I checked out the profile and there's like this famous rodeo athlete in Texas. And I'm like, what? And then he asked me, hey, can you help my wife with her Facebook ads? We're running this kids clothing brand. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then I text him back. I'm like, hey, love that you checked out the video. And then I sent him the calendar link to book in a call. And I told him, like, yeah, let's discuss. He books in the call. He says he really, really enjoys the video and like really, got a lot of value from it, which honestly at the time I was like, cool, but like I didn't think it was good at all. And then, yeah, we started talking and then boom, sold him. I think 1 or 2 weeks later, they did the payment and we started onboarding. And, I was through the roof. And at this time, I was like, okay, this is, coming at the perfect timing because like I need to build up my income again. And these 2 clients were a big part of that. Like it got my hopes up, it got my momentum up. I was feeling so shit after losing all of the hard work that I've done before I was able to do that trip to Sri Lanka. And then I was like, okay, now I need to lock in. So I just locked in for like 2 weeks, didn't do anything but work and go for runs. And that's all I did because I really wanted to get some good results for these clients. So I went above and beyond. And over time, I started getting more booked calls in, closed a couple more clients, and it was just crazy. So then I started making more and more YouTube videos. And that is how it started to take off. But even after that video, it took quite a while before I hit my next video like that. And I think I was just pure luck that first video that I posted was the one that got me clients. And I think if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have doubled down on YouTube for sure, because it was pure luck, I think. So, a couple of things that I've learned since having this experience and doubling down on YouTube that I will share with you now, that will definitely, if you do the things that I'm about to share with you, you will do this so much quicker than I did, and you will build up this micro personal brand much, much quicker. So, a couple of things. Number one is just getting started, like for me, posting that first video, it was kind of getting to a point. I was thinking about it for a while, like content, should get into it, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's talking about it. Like, but it's like, where do you start? You feel like an imposter. You don't feel like you really know your shit yet. So it's really hard to justify like what should I talk about, who am I to say anything? But to get over this, you should just like document what you've done and what you're doing and what you're learning. You shouldn't like think that you're the guru, the teacher. Just think like you are learning and you are sharing your learnings, and that's what you're doing. And don't overcomplicate it, because that's just going to make you not start. Now, the second thing, which I already talked about, is like through this process, you're going to learn a lot faster than you're doing. So even if you're starting out and you're selling a service that you're kind of new in, I think documenting and making content around it will allow you to learn so much faster, and it will allow you to talk to clients and potential clients with more confidence, because you have done research. Before you make a video, you do research on the topic you're going to make a video about, and you learn so much to doing that, and then sitting down and filming the video in a way that's more clear, and it's going to help you allow people to understand the frameworks and strategies and whatever you're presenting, right? So talking to a camera is actually a great way to become a better presenter. In my opinion, it's one of the best ways, because you can do this at any given time, and you can sit down and film content. Now, it does feel extremely uncomfortable starting out, but it's just like the price you have to pay. You just have to get through that, and you just need to put in the hours talking to the camera. And I think what's going to come up is like you're sitting down, you're starting to talk, you can't finish your sentences, you're stumbling your words. That is 100% normal. That is how it's supposed to be. And maybe I'll put up some clips on when I was starting out making content, but it's like that is part of the process. And what I found out after doing it for a while is like you understand that being hard on yourself while filming content, and like being mad at yourself for not being able to say a simple sentence that normally when you talk to a human, it would be super easy for you to do. When you're doing it to camera, for some reason, it becomes super difficult. And I still struggle with this to a certain degree, but way less compared to when I was starting. It is just about putting in the hours. It's just about getting more and more comfortable talking to the camera. And you're never going to be 100% comfortable, but you're going to get used to it. And another thing that I've learned is that when you start to become really angry at yourself and you want things to flow, you're just going to spiral downwards if you keep being hard on yourself. Actually, the best way to do it is just to expect that you're not going to be able to, complete sentences as you normally would, and just try to relax. Because I think the reason why it's so hard is because you become tense as soon as the camera is on, and then you can't really speak in a fluent and, nicely paced way that you will usually do when you talk to a human. So it's just about really learning that you need to be kind to yourself while filming content. I think most things you can kind of like just use force to get through, just power through things. But when it comes to making content, you need to kind of just, be kind to yourself as you're sitting down and filming. Now, one thing you can do to make it a lot easier is writing out your scripts and compartmentalize the different segments of the video. So first you're going to film the intro, then you're going to film, point one, point two, point three. However you structure the video, just make sure that you compartmentalize the different things that you're going to talk through. So make sure that you have a script, it's already structured, you've spent time writing it down, so you have structured the things you will talk about, and then it's way easier to get through it. So the more work you do up front before sitting down talking to the camera, the more likely it is that it will go smoother. And this is something I wish I knew earlier. I was kind of like always thinking, oh, I need to make another video. And then I would sit down and I would kind of have some bullet points and then try to present it. But like I haven't really formulated and worked through the ideas and the concepts. So I didn't really know what words to use. And then it will take forever to get through the video. And on top of that, when it's not flowing and you have to do multiple cuts, it's really hard to edit. So when you do all of the work up front, writing it out, scripting it out, It's way easier to just sit down and film it. I think 70 to 80% should just be preparing, figuring out what idea that you want to actually make a video about. Make sure you have a central idea and a central thing that you want to communicate to the viewer to make it valuable for them. And then scripting out what you want to go through to communicate that idea. While the other 20 to 30% should actually just be the filming part. That should be pretty smooth because you know everything you're going to say, you know everything you're going to do. So make sure you front load the work you do in the preparation. It's going to help you so much. Now, the next thing that I wish I did earlier was kind of thinking through when I'm making a video, how can I make a resource or a lead magnet essentially? If you don't know what a lead magnet is, it's just simply something that's valuable to the viewer and that they want to get their hands on. So what I did when I made Facebook ads videos is, for example, I would make a calculator, a ROAS or a break-even CPA calculator. If you don't know what that is, it's just simply for business owners to be able to calculate what targets, KPI they should have on their campaigns. So I would build out this Google Sheet calculator, and then I would put like a link in the description of the video that I would sometimes mention throughout the video. I would be like going through a video, sharing a strategy or something. And then whenever it would be relevant for me to mention this resource that I have, I would just tell them that the link to get that for free is in the description below the video. And then they click on that link and it goes to like this landing page that I built with ConvertKit. And they put in their email, their first name, and then I send it automatically through the email after they submit. So this is just an automated thing that you can set up with ConvertKit. And I wish I started doing this way earlier, because then all of the views and the people that would come in from my YouTube, a lot more of those would actually come onto my email list. And an email list is so, so valuable. And it's something I can't stress enough, because what you can do through email list is that is where you can do the selling. So every once in a while, you can send out an email just saying, hey, we got a few spots for a service. If you're interested, book in a call here, right? And that way you can kind of sell through your email list, which is much better than trying to pitch in your content, because that's going to ruin your content. People don't want to be sold, and you come off as desperate if you're selling in your content. So by actually thinking through how you can make relevant resources and apply them to your content, that way you can build up this email list quicker, and you can then sell through email list. You're kind of selling your service in the background, and it doesn't affect any of your content, which I can't stress this enough. I wish I started this process sooner, but better late than never. If you're starting out, make sure you think every time you make content, make sure you think through like, is there some resource you can make? Is there like a checklist, a cheat sheet, or like like I did, a ROAS calculator? And when you find a one lead magnet that works well, make sure you implement it as often as you can in each video, and just have it in the description. People are going to find it. It's actually quite surprising how many people actually read through the description of the video and they actually go in and they find that link. So yeah, if you're starting out, make sure you do that early, because that's something I really wish I did. Now, the next thing you want to do is make sure that you have your main call to action. So for me, that's been like getting people to book in a call with me. Make sure you have that link at the top of your description of the video. I can tell you for a fact that when you do this, you're going to get booked calls a lot more often, because it's easier for people to find that link. And then when people start booking in calls with you, make sure you always start the conversation asking them what video they saw before they booked in the call. That will allow you to understand which content that turns viewers into, potential clients. And that is a really, really important point. You are not optimizing for views. That is why I can build a 6-figure agency on the back of like a YouTube channel with less than 2,000 views on average per video. And we're not optimizing for views. We're optimizing for hyper relevant views from people that are trying to solve a very specific problem. So for us to understand what type of content that makes people book in that call, you need to actually get a feel for what they came through. And very often people watch multiple videos before they book in a call. And if that's the case, just make sure you ask them like, which video did they get the most value from? And sometimes they don't remember, but you just have to keep asking them, like if they can go through the YouTube history or like dig in their memory to help you out, because this is super relevant data for you. Because when you understand this, it's easier for you to actually develop content around this specific thing. Now, that being said, there should be a mix of content that is a little bit more broad to get you more views and, help the YouTube algorithm trust that they should push your content. But every once in a while, it's really important that you make some kind of specific a video where you're solving a specific problem that is a little bit more conversion focused, as I would say. So, for example, for me, that's been like sharing specific case studies of how we took this brand from this amount of revenue to this amount of revenue with this profitability, right? That is very often the type of content that a person that's been watching your stuff for a while, when they see this content, that might be enough to actually get them to trust you enough to book in that call. So, make sure you don't optimize for views of subscribers. That's not really what we want. Sure, it's awesome to have this and it becomes addictive. Trust me, like I check the YouTube Studio app on my phone every time I've posted a video to see how it performs. But at the end of the day, like we're not going to make money off this YouTube channel. You might make enough to buy you a coffee every month or every week, but it's not going to be the revenue driver. It's going to be the people at booking calls. And that's why we need to optimize our content for that. And now the last, but probably the most important thing is to stay consistent. And everybody says you need to stay consistent with content to see results. Here's the thing. It is very difficult to be consistent. I've fallen off multiple times. My goal has many times been just posting once per week, but then a month goes by and I don't post. What I've found that works for me is to focus my effort. So that means when I film a YouTube video, I make sure that I have 4, 5, maybe even more ideas ready to go. And then I put 1 week where it's like, this is a content week. Now I'm going to film a bunch of content. And then in that week, I film multiple YouTube videos. And that way I've set myself up for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. That makes it so much easier because now you get into a state of content making mode and you really focus your mental bandwidth all on just creating content for a while. And this allows you to make higher quality content, but also do more effort in a short amount of time. The process is going to be quicker. So for example, when I'm setting up the studio, this is actually something that takes quite a while. And I have a very simple studio setup, but just setting up the camera, fixing the audio, making sure everything is good, going through the motions of creating the script. Like if you do this every day for a few days in a row, you build up these habits and you can just keep your studio set up as it is. And then it's way quicker to get through your videos. It's also way easier when, like, let's say you're feeling good. You know you have a good week, you're on a good run, good momentum. Make sure you utilize that to create content because so many times you're going to go through stressful periods in your business and it's the last thing you want to do is creating content. So if you miss a couple of weeks in a row of not posting, that's going to ruin that momentum and you know your views are going to go down and you're going to lose the lead flow as well. And that's happened to me. That's what I'm telling you. So much better to actually focus your efforts, set yourself up for a few weeks in the future. And then when you have a good period within, you know, that area of time in the future that you now covered with content, when you feel really good, okay, that's your sign to sit down and, you know, set yourself up even further to the future, right? Because you don't want to make content when you feel shit. And not a lot of people will say that, but I will say, like, I know how impossible it feels to sit down and make a YouTube video when you're stressing out about delivering service for clients. Maybe you have a couple of clients that are like you're almost about to lose them. Like the last thing you want to do is sit down and talk to a camera, right? Because you're stressed out and you're not in that creative mind state. So make sure that when you feel good, maybe you have a weekend where it's like you don't have any meetings, you feel peaceful, you feel good, like you've gone for a run on a Friday evening and waking up early on Saturday and you have full of Saturday, full of Sunday. Make sure you use those 2 days to just knock out content. I wish I did this earlier and I did it sometimes, but then I forgot about it and I tried to just like make a video every week. But that is just very not sustainable at all because 1 week you're going to be sick and then you're not going to feel good. And then, yeah, it's so many things that are going to come up and stop you from making content. So make sure you set yourself up for 4 to 5 to 6 weeks in the future. Now, I'm obviously not the only one that says that content is the way to go, but a lot of people think that you need to have a really big follower base and you need to do it for many years before you see results. I made 5 figures from the first video that I posted, multiple 5 figures in lifetime value from those clients. From the first video, and probably one of, in my opinion, the shittiest videos I ever posted. So it's like, don't over perfect things. It doesn't need to be perfect. It will get better with time. Like in the beginning, you just need decent lighting, use your phone for a camera. Maybe the best thing you can invest in is a microphone because that just makes the whole process a lot easier. and it sounds way crisper, and you come off as more credible and authoritative and knowledgeable when you have good audio. And when you start to post frequently, you will get people in and they will start watching your content, but they're not going to convert right away. I think I was honestly very lucky with that first video. People need to see a couple of videos before they convert. And also, when I think back now, a lot of the leads that I got later on, they actually came in from that very first video, but they didn't continue to watch a few videos before they booked in a call. So that means there's going to be a delay between the effort that you do in making the content and the results that you get. And the delay is going to be, depending on the type of business and the price point of what you're selling, it depends, right? If you're selling a really, really expensive offer, then people need to trust you even more. So they need to watch more content, and you need to show more proof and credibility and build more credibility before they actually book in a call. But for some businesses, it's going to be, less time. For others, it's going to take longer. It just depends. But the main point is that there is going to be a delay between you sitting down, creating content, to getting the results. So I would say content creation is one of those things where you really on a deep level start to understand delayed gratification, because you need to put in a lot of effort actually making the video, but then you only get rewarded from that maybe months down the line. But it is worth it, because the beautiful thing, and especially about YouTube, which is really the only platform I can speak about, but the beautiful thing about YouTube is when you start to create content, a lot of it can become evergreen. So it will stack up views for months at a time. And if you really hit gold and you make one video that gets like 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 views, but high quality views as well from relevant people that could become your client, then this can consistently continue to get views for a very, very long time in the future, especially if you make like long form tutorial stuff, right? Of things that people want to learn. If you make content that is very just, specifically focused on something that's very new in that moment, then of course it's not going to be as evergreen. But the beautiful thing about long form YouTube, if you compare it to, let's say, short form Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, it is very evergreen. So you build out like this sales machine for you that just does the work for you after you created the video. And that is the part of YouTube that gives you leverage, and it allows you to consistently get leads. You're going to get sales, and you can actually peacefully go and focus on getting results for your clients. And I can't stress that enough. It's been an absolute game changer for me. It's what's allowing me to now be in Portugal and surfing and living an amazing life. Planning to go to South Africa after Christmas, and then going back to Bali. And of course, I feel like I was lucky, but I'm really thankful that as soon as I saw the potential of YouTube, that I doubled down on it, and I got past the fear of talking to a camera. I'm from Norway as well. So if you look at my first few videos, you can see that my English wasn't really that great. And if you see like the raw edits, I'm stuttering. I can't get through my sentences. It was horrible. I always dreaded content creation, but it gets easier with time. And it is such a rewarding thing, man. Like when you have a personal brand, a micro personal brand, people trust you, they're booking calls with you, and it's just like you don't need to stress about selling. They're going to buy because they already trust you. And that creates this peaceful, profitable, sustainable business that can fuel your lifestyle. So make sure you start now and reap the rewards later. It's going to be worth it. You're going to learn a lot in the process. And even if you're starting out and you're not really sure what to make content about, let's say you haven't really picked your niche yet, you don't really know, don't worry about it. You can change. Okay. You can start making content around one thing, and then you can transition into something else. At the end of the day, if you just start, you will learn the process of content creation, which is one of the absolute most valuable skills the time that we live in. Attention is the new currency. And it's not just me saying this, like everybody's saying this, all the experts, all the successful business people are saying this because it is true. In the comment below if you've already started on your content journey, or if you're planning on getting started and what's holding you back. I would love to learn more. And thanks for checking out this video. I'm going to be sharing more of the lessons that I've learned going to 6 figures, but now scaling to 7 figures. And I'm going to share that all on this channel with some lifestyle stuff to hopefully inspire some of you. So man, I enjoy making these videos. It's fun for me. And if you get value from them as well, it would be amazing if you let me know by leaving a like and commenting down below. I would love to connect with you in the comments and hear about your journey and where you're trying to go. So Thanks so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.